Welcome to part 5 of the SharePoint client-side development series. In today's session, we are going to have a look at the client-side object model of SharePoint. Version used is 2013. If you want to get the best resource, just have a look at Microsoft Virtual Academy. What is client-side object model? What is the architecture behind that? In SharePoint, the code is sent in XML format to the SharePoint server, and the client.svc web service will take care of processing the request and returns the result in the form of JSON. So you can write the code either in C# called manage C# or Relite applications or using JavaScript, and you can even use REST API by just calling the functions from a URL itself. Coming to the JavaScript, first, all of the functions are coming from the sp.js file, which is located in /layout/15/sp.js. And we always use the method get underscore and followed by the object. For example, if you want to access the web, you use get underscore web. How we do that? Let's just go to the next slide to understand. The basics is, first you get the context. Imagine you're trying to build a building. First you get the land, you get the context, and after that you load the data. Suppose you're building a house, you're bringing bricks, so you load the data. And finally, you do the actual execution or the actual construction. First, you get the context similar to getting a land, then you load the data either with site or list or user or item or groups. And then finally, you do the actual execution, which is mostly the code operations like create, delete, update. For a simple project in SharePoint Online, it is recommended to use the Napa. But simpler than that is the script editor part, where you can write a JavaScript code by adding the script editor part. Let's just quickly have a look at the demo for that. You go to the site edit page and you click add a web part. And then you go to media or content and then select script editor and click add. Since it's already been added, let me just pick. And once you add it, this kind of web part appears on the page and you just have to select edit snippet. Here you can start writing the code. Let's just type a simple code. href is equal to JavaScript colon alert. They were calling like and just click insert. And once you insert and you click, the alert comes. That's it. This is a simple JavaScript code. But if you are a JavaScript coder and you want to do something really fantastic with the SharePoint, you can happily do that. You can just start developing using the script editor, then move on to the Napa or the Visual Studio, whichever tool you want to use. Next, a quick demo at a Napa app. Please download Napa Office 365 Development Tools in your development site collection from the SharePoint store. You can find that link from the site contents when you add an app. And once that's downloaded, you just click that, it opens up all the SharePoint projects. And you can create a new SharePoint project and name that as you want. So cool, you can add a new project by simply clicking this add a new project. So I've created a simple project which does nothing. I've not modified any code. So once you create a new project, this is how to come. You just give a name, and once the name is given, let's just browse through the contents. You have the content folder which contains the app.css, the images which contains the icon PNG, and the pages. This client web part is for the app part, which is writing a part of a page similar to the web part, but this is an iframe in a HTML, and it's very basic. And this is the default of ASPX, which contains the simple code logic, the user interface for the code logic. So here we have a div element where nothing is displayed. We just display the content initializing. And in the app.js, we are calling the function getUserName to display the username. So if you see, you have first to initialize the context using where context equal to sp.clientContext.getCurrent, and then you get the user object using get current user, and then you load the user and you note this execute query as sync. It calls two functions success and fail, and once there's success, it is updating the div with the hello, and once it is fail, it is saying the error message. So this can be used as a template for your custom requirements. Once your coding is done, just click this run button. It will start uploading the package, and it will just open up the page in a new link, which is actually a subsite in the site collection. So if you notice, the page opens up, and if you look at the URL, you have the site domain name followed by the app id.sharepoint.com/size the link, and this is the name of the app, and the page is default.tsbytes. So, and we are just displaying hello followed by the username. So this is simple Nava app. So this is another page with a simple example, just displaying the site URL. For example, it is saying welcome dot. If you look at the code, so this is the code used. We have a anchor tag and it's calling the function get site details. In the get site details function, if you see, we have sp.clientContext.getCurrent, then site collection is equal to context.get underscore web or get underscore site if you're using a site collection. You're loading the site collection and calling the execute query sync. And here we are just alerting the site collections URL using get underscore URL property. So this is a simple demonstration to read a site collection using JavaScript CSOM. Next, I'm going to try to create a console application to demonstrate the managed CSOM. We add a reference to Microsoft.SharePoint.client using the nugget or manually, and then we write a simple code which will display the site collection properties. In Visual C#, select console application. You just give the name as console application CSOM, SPO for SharePoint Online, and then click OK. Right click the project and add a reference to Microsoft.SharePoint DLL, which has been downloaded from the Microsoft SDK client components from online. Or you can just download the DLL from somewhere else like Nugget packages and all. Just click add. Okay. And here the code has been copied, which is writing the code to retrieve the client context of the site URL. Let's change the URL. And then we add a reference to Microsoft.SharePoint.client.dll. And let's build the solution. Okay, the build failed because reference should also be added from Microsoft.SharePoint.client.runtime.dll. And let's just run this. Well, an exception has occurred because this is an online site, but if this is an on-premise version, this code would work. So if you want to work with SharePoint Online, you just have to add manage Nugget packages and give a search for SharePoint. So if you see here, we are using the package Microsoft app for SharePoint Online Web Toolkit. Using this, you don't have to worry about the credential issue. So after this nugget is added, all these references are added. Then we go to the program.css and we can write the code. In this particular example, what we are doing is we are merely changing the theme of the website. The token helper will take care of all the access issues. We are just getting the clients with the URI. We are hardcoding the URL for now. And we call the method apply theme. And once this method is applied, the theme of the URL will change. Let's run this. In the further sessions. And there is another way, it's just easier is the PowerShell. You just open up PowerShell ISE and write a code to connect to SPO site and get SPO site, and it's done. So here if you see, like a simple function has been written which will display all the site properties using get-SPO site. This works for online. For server side on-premise, you have a different version. So let's just try to run this. I'm running the commands by passing the domain and the username, and it will prompt me for the password. And if that is correct, it will display all the properties of the site collection. And this is pretty powerful though not much functionality is not exposed. SharePoint Online PowerShell is also a little powerful tool where you do things like reading sites or users or updating the sites or list and things like that. So it started displaying the results. Since the machine is simple slow, it is just reading each site and displaying all the properties. It started off with the personal site like my.sharepoint.com, then the total site. Let's just stop this and move on to the slide now. The final topic is the REST API, where you can read directly from the HTML. The URL is used to specify the objects like site, list, or web. And you have something called the HTTP verb operations like create, you use the post verb, update, you use the put verb, delete, you use the delete verb, and to get, you use the get verb. This is based on the Web 2.2 and uses OData for exchange. For example, to access a site details, you just give the site URL followed by underscore API slash site. Let's just go to the demo and finish this off. For example, now I'm just trying to list all the web details. It will be returned in the form of XML. So it's taking some time to load. Another powerful way to work from the REST is to use to download the Postman tool from Google Apps, and you can just start giving the and you give the URL and you can do get, post and many other operations. You give the URL and you send the request and the results is returned in the form of JSON and that can be used in your code for business based on your business functionality. Let's see if that XML's results are returned. Let's do this. So this is simple Napa app which is displaying the external REST data on a SharePoint site. And this is the code where the default.aspx we have a code which reads the data from this services.odata.org Northwind database categories, and this code takes care of reading the site for JSON data and displaying the data. This code can come handy for displaying external data in the JSON format. So at last the results of this XML form REST data has come. So you can do for the site or the web or the list or many URLs. So that's a quick summary of the SharePoint CSOM. Thank you so much.